My thanks to the Association of Geospatial Applications and Technology for giving me this opportunity. And on behalf of the government of Andhra Pradesh and on behalf of the ITSC department, uh, I I thank the association for also recognizing us and our work in water conservation and related technologies in this August forum. I have been requested to give a piece on the use of geospatial applications in water conservation, and it is indeed when we were selected for this award, I was actually surprised because we had simultaneous applications from several other departments which were actually engaged in water conservation. And what made uh, our nomination a standout piece was the way we used technologies for providing a solution that could be used across the spectrum. And nothing nothing more will be more apt in this forum than telling exactly how we went about doing this. Uh, in using the several technologies, we zeroed in on something very fundamental, okay, something very simple. For example, the analysis part, we used the open source software Python. For the mobile app, we use Java, and for the web app, web application, well, basically the idea was to capture the geological maps, capture all the information, and then put it in the digital form so that it is approachable by web and it is approachable by mobile app. And the logistics also was nightmarish because it was a 6-month project. We sat with the department, the water resources department, and selected around 1,511 water stressed villages spread across 5 districts, and we used their domain expertise in mapping out the water stress areas using the ridge to valley concept, meaning a particular watershed was selected, and one watershed's water conservation is not necessarily the same for another watershed, as one could intuitively understand, because you have different slopes, you have different features, you have different parameters for each watershed. And so one particular watershed required uh, an exclusive use of rockfill dams, whereas for certain other watershed, all it required was one huge percolation pond. Now, what I'm trying to say here is, in developing a soil and a water conservation map for one particular water-stressed village, it involved immense field verifications and triangulation by the water resource department to do this. So once the action plan was firmed up, all we did was to translate it into into our digital app and into our web application, so that so that the information comes on the digital mode, and this digital information was made accessible in our website. It was also made accessible in the mobile app, so that the farmers are able to access this. Now, this mode of creating digital data assumes two things: one, that the farmer has access to the internet, and a farmer has access to the smartphone, both of which were not really true by a long mile, because a cursory data revealed that at least 40% of our population still are out of bounds with reference to internet. So our next challenge was to was to tackle this particular problem, and what we did was we created a call-in center where farmers can call us up and ask us to explain about this particular information. After the developing the platform, we did receive about 48 to 50 calls over a period of 2 to 3 months. The farmers were trying to understand what exactly we were saying, and we also cross-verified with the Water Resource Department. And across 1,511 villages, we had a good response from at least 45 villages where our maps were used for several of these water conservation plans. The nature of the project is such that we cannot actually claim that we have been able to do so much. We have been able to conserve so much of cubic units of water. No, that is not our claim. The claim is that we had given a technology that is scalable and that can be used by other departments who have access to these maps. There are there are certain other limitations also in our application. One is that it is not real time, and this was the first of its kind, and so we had to make do with a not so real dynamic application, but we found a via media for it. Like once in a month or once in 45 days, the information was updated, and you see, this application was around 16 to 18 months. And so when water levels filled up, when water levels ebbed down, we made the necessary changes in the digital maps which we have put up for upload and download in our web application. All that is there for people to see, and and in doing this, we are contributing our in a small way for water conservation in our state. Now the lesson is that we still are a long way to go, because there are 13,000 mandals and we have just covered something like 10%. And to do this is a mammoth task. And even after completing all this, the application is such that we are not in a position to tell that we have saved so much of water in these particular drought stress mandals. The only indicator which we get is farmers' enthusiasm for using this data for building the water conservation structures, like rock-filled dams in places where rock is abundant and where the slopes are steep. Where the slopes are gentle, we have given percolation tanks as a ideal solution with a reference to their monetary resources. Sometimes check dams have also been suggested, but check dams are cost intensive, and so we had to take a call between the resources available for the farmer, the department, and our own domain knowledge. So this in short is what our application was all about, and how we have used fundamental technologies that are accessible, open source, and it is also capable of interoperating with other technologies across other states. Now I thank the August Forum for giving me this opportunity to share whatever we had done in this. And last but not the least, I should also thank my team because we are from the IT department, and my team in AP Space Applications Center. That also is a pointer to the kind of technologies you require in water conservation. We have Dr. Nageshwar Rao, we have Dr. Narayana, we have Dr. Tata Rao, we have Dr. Hema, and a host of other scientists who have done their post-graduation in geography, who have done their post-graduation in, and sometimes even doctorates in geospace applications, who have done their post-graduation in water resources engineering, and finally the IT team, who are basically engineers in the computer science and the IT area. So you see what a conglomeration of disciplines and technology this particular application is about. we had expertise from geography, JS applications, IT, and then of course water resources engineering. I thank you all for giving me this opportunity, and with this, I would like to uh, uh, apologize also for some of the nitty-gritties in this form of delivering my keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and sharing with us your experiences